The Liminal Threshold, Lucid Dreams, and the Final Awakening. The architect of the night. Most of us move through our dreams like passengers on a train, watching a landscape we cannot control. But for the lucid dreamer, the train stops, and they step into the engineer's seat. Lucid dreaming is the scientifically verified state of becoming awake while the body remains in REM sleep. This isn't just a fantasy. Studies from Stanford University and the work of Dr. LaBerge have proven that lucid dreamers can communicate with the waking world through predetermined eye movements while their brains show the high-frequency gamma waves associated with peak concentration. When you achieve lucidity, you are no longer a victim of the dream's narrative. You become the architect of the night. You can mold the environment at will, summon information, or fly through impossible geometries. This reveals a profound truth of the divine blueprint. The mind is a generator of reality. If we can collapse the wave function of a dream through sheer intent, it suggests that our waking life may follow the same mathematical rules of observer effect. Lucidity is the practice of creative agency in its purest form, a training ground for the soul to realize that the reducing valve of the brain is far more flexible than we were ever taught. The guardians of the threshold. However, the journey into the deep mind often comes with a guardian. Thousands of people across every culture and century have reported the terrifying experience of sleep paralysis. You wake up, unable to move, sensing a heavy presence in the room, often described as a shadow being or an old hag. While materialist science dismisses this as a simple glitch, where the brain's REM atonia, muscle paralysis, lingers into waking, the cross-cultural consistency of these beings suggests something more profound. Are these merely hallucinations, or are they a biological byproduct of the reducing valve, failing to filter out the entities that inhabit the frequency just adjacent to ours? Some researchers into non-local consciousness suggest that sleep paralysis is a threshold state. When the body is locked but the mind is vibrating at a different pitch, we may be catching glimpses of the other beings that coexist within the folds of the extra dimensions predicted by string theory. It is a moment of ontological shock where the safety of our 3D theater is momentarily breached, reminding us that we are walking through a crowded universe, even when we feel most alone. The glow of terminal lucidity. Perhaps the most hauntingly beautiful evidence of the soul's independence from the brain is the phenomenon of terminal lucidity. This occurs when patients with severe end-stage dementia, Alzheimer's, or brain tumors, people who haven't spoken or recognized loved ones for years, suddenly wake up. For a few minutes or hours before death, their memory returns, their personality becomes vibrant, and they engage in deep, coherent conversations. Research published in the Archives of Gerontology and Geriatrics and studies by Dr. Michael Nahm have documented hundreds of these cases. From a materialist perspective, this is impossible. A broken radio cannot play a clear signal, but from the perspective of the divine blueprint, it makes perfect sense. As the biological reducing valve of the brain begins to dissolve in the final approach to death, the infinite wonder of the soul is no longer filtered. The person isn't getting better, they are stepping out. Terminal lucidity gives us that edge, a glimpse into the reality that consciousness is not a product of the brain, but a visitor within it. It is the Final Gnostic Flash, proving that the mind remains whole even when its physical vessel is failing. The lesson of the veil. What do these three states tell us about the nature of God in the blueprint of our lives? They tell us that reality is a spectrum, not a single point. Whether we are molding a dream at will, facing the shadows of paralysis, or witnessing the miraculous clarity of a dying loved one, we are being shown that the material world is the surface of a very deep ocean. These experiences are software updates for our understanding, designed to help us lose our fear and reclaim our wonder. By studying the liminal spaces, the edges where one world ends and another begins, we find the courage to live with more intent. We realize that we are the observers, the architects, and the eternal voyagers. We are being invited to keep our internal eye open, to trust the clarity that comes in the silence, and to recognize that the veil is thin for a reason, so we never forget where we truly come from. The blueprint is an invitation to wake up, not just in our dreams, but in our lives, recognizing that every moment is an opportunity to co-create with the divine. Stay creative, stay kind, be curious, and keep exploring life.